Hi, everybody. I'm Greg. I'm a paranormal investigator with Shadow Hunters, Paranormal Investigations and Events. I'm also a medium and empath and working my way up the ladder as far as where I'm going with my own experience in my own life. As far as what's going on right now, I want to just put a shout out to Fred from Spirit Recon again. Fred's still underneath the weather from the operations he had, and hopefully with your continued prayers, Fred will be coming around. And here's Fred. Fred, hope you're getting better. And then let's just go right into it. Tonight I have TJ Gilbert and Jason Snyder, both from the Firelands podcast, and they're here to talk a little bit about their work and how that podcast seems to have, it's been around for quite a few years now, I know, and you guys are really experienced at it, and you've shown a lot of great effort in what you put forth in the productions you come out with. And I just want to say it's great having you on, and you guys can just start out by going ahead and saying a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, thanks for having us on. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, T.
I mean, you pretty much do all the talking all the time.
This is your big opportunity.
This is my opportunity to start talking. We do a paranormal podcast called the Firelands Podcast. We do it live on Facebook. Jason and I have we've been friends for over 20 years, right, Jay? 25 years?
Probably close to 25, brother.
Yeah, 24, 25 years. And we just share a similar interest in the paranormal and true crime and, the unexplained. And, we've done investigations together. You pretty much, you name it. Jason and I have done it together. We've fought each other a couple of times. We've gotten arrested together a couple times. We're really good friends.
We've been through it. I mean, ever since we were teenagers, all the way up to the point to where now we've seen each other's families and we've seen our own kids grow.
Yes.
I moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana back in 1999. So I've been here about 22 years now. Mm-hmm. Not quite 22, but and I think that, for the most part, for me, it was TJ moved in next to me. I want to say he was about 13, I think, when he moved in. He's a couple years younger than me. He moved in next to me, and we meshed immediately. But one of the things he found out early on is that, my family believed in the paranormal. Mm. We talked about it. We had experiences in our house growing up. It was something that we talked about often in the early 90s, and, he was, his interest was in that as well. So, between going into, abandoned houses and going to spooky places that were said to be haunted and kind of doing our own form of investigating, or maybe just partying our ass off.
Well, even as so much as, our mothers even used to go places with us too. We used to all pile in the car together as a family, both our moms and me and Jason and a couple of our friends would pile in the station wagon or in Jason's mom's green Tempo. And we'd head out and, we'd go check out the mysterious light here or there, or the orphanage, or, we were all over the place. It was cool, man. And I think that kind of thing, like, that stays with you, you know what I mean? And as you get older, you're only going to get more curious about things anyways, just in your own mortality's sake, you know what I mean? You're going to start to wonder about things like that and afterlife and all that stuff. So, kind of it just works, right?
Right. Yeah. And, and life happened. So, there was quite a few years when T and I really weren't speaking on a normal basis and things like that, and it was, we both kind of came into the paranormal on our own independently and was like, hey, you're doing that. We're doing that too. That's
right.
Pretty cool.
Which is really weird.
Yeah, right.
We actually found each other. You actually found my paranormal group on MySpace. That's where you found it. And you're like, that, are you, I'm like, yeah, man, we're going all over the place. You're like, me too. And, and it just kind of, and then after that, it was just like, we were nonstop,
Yeah. Yeah. So, things come full turn.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, we shift gears. Of course, Greg, that I host a lot of different events. I do a lot of speaking and a lot of things, a lot of investigating and things like that. And, for TJ and I, we not only had an interest in the paranormal and both a vested interest in the paranormal, but, we like everything from, UFOs to, conspiracy theories and true crime, missing persons. I know, Greg, that you've heard us talk about Hellier on our podcast a couple times, and you were really great because we were like scratching our heads about it. Was and you were chiming in the chat room because you were right in on it.
You had all the answers that we were scratching.
Yeah, and so our podcast isn't only a paranormal podcast, so we might have some filmmakers on, some directors, some producers. We may have some actors on. And then just a couple weeks ago, we had Bishop James Long on. So we went, full blown demonology and demon possession and things like that. And then we've talked about things like Missing 411, David Politis and the work that he's doing with the Can-Am Project and all of that, or even talking about prolific serial killers like Samuel Little, who just passed away about a month ago. So we like the macabre side of things, but the things that really, really, really make you think, life is really, really great. And you can sit around and live underneath of a rock all you want and be happy your entire life. But we're the kind of people who like to dig our hands and get our fingers in the soil and really try to wonder what it is that makes people tick. When you think about it, any of those subjects that I just rambled off, there's a lot of hundreds and thousands of interesting angles and people who are also involved with those, so it's like it's a never ending subject source for us. At any one point in time, we can say, what do you want to talk about? And we'll be like, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? And it's not that because we don't know what to talk about. It's just we can go so many different directions.
Right away, as soon as you brought that up, I was thinking about John Borowski and all the works that he's done on the different serial killers and that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We always every time we always run into him at a show or one of the Paracons, we always make a point of going ahead and picking up one or two of his works because he really put it all together on a lot of them.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Really does. Amazing very guy. Detailed guy. Very detailed
very,
guy.
Very, very. He's
does tons of hands-on research. One of the best that there is out there when it comes to breaking that stuff down.
Real fast. I'm just going to mention a few names. There's quite a few people on her though. It's Julie Webster. You've got Danny Botts, Oliva Smars. You've got Dean Thompson, Angie Gerber from Indiana, Olivia Smars, Nick Hansen. Nick Hansen's from Ghost Head Soup. Linda Morrison's from LaPorte, Indiana.
Wow, a lot of Indiana people in there.
Yeah, there is. Kelly
my tribe.
You guys got to get another hobby.
But anyway,
everybody in Ghost Hunter in Indiana, it sure does seem like it.
Right.
Well, it's a great.
start paintballing or something. Come on,
we're thick as thieves over here, TJ.
I see it.
It's a great state. It's got a lot of stuff in it. It's got a lot of real.
Jason's always, like, have you ever heard of this place? Have you heard of that place? I'm like, no.
Yeah, we're always busy doing stuff. But you know what? Hey, thank you everybody for coming in. By the way,
yes.
Thank you all very much. I see that Dale Kazmarek just popped in. Hi, Dale. How you doing, buddy? I haven't seen him in a couple years since the Hannah House Paranormal Day celebration, but I do pay attention to a lot of his videos and his shows as well. Dale is a very great guy, very, very knowledgeable in what he does. Lots of respect for Dale.
We've had him on here a couple times already, and thank God it's going to be on Zoom. So, but anyway, getting back to you guys, and now, have you gone ahead in the last couple of years and got together on any big investigations together?
Nothing big.
No, we're actually doing a little bit of some small stuff behind the scenes and filming, trying to put some footage together for our Patreon page that we're going to put together. We want to make sure that once we start that, though, we got plenty of content backlogged, so we don't feel pressured to put content out.
Right.
Because we started off as a weekly podcast, but like you said, like TJ said earlier, he's got his own podcast he does for 2 hours a night. Plus we're both business owners. We're both sun up to sundown people. Before sun up, after sundown people. So we already have busy lives with our families, our kids and everything else, so we haven't actually done a large scale investigation recently, but we have talked about it. We do have some stuff in the plans. We wanted to do some stuff last year. Unfortunately, circumstances didn't allow for it to happen, but we kind of look at it like it's all right. If we miss it this time, we'll come back and we'll get it next time. It's not a big deal.
I had to wait till I was retired for quite a few years before I could possibly put myself into this chair and say, I'd like to try to do this.
Right. Yeah.
And I pull my hats off to you guys, because it's just unbelievable to think of all the things you guys do, and you're here tonight and your heads don't explode.
It almost did this week, several times, especially today. So I slid into home. You don't understand. 10 minutes before we got on the show, it was pure chaos behind me. So it's get the kids in the shower after I got them fed and got them to bed. I've put over 275 miles on the road today, 12 hours out there, and just to get back to make this show. So.
Oh, that's awesome! Thank you very much for doing that.
Oh, geez,
I know how hard it is.
I just laid in bed all day and watched TV. It was really rough, but I made it here in time. I made it the whole 20 feet.
Did you get the right dimple in the pillow, just so that you weren't too much pressure?
I'm a pillow flipper. I'm always looking for the cold side. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah. It looks like I see Tina Hicks Lano just popped in.
Yeah, Tina's there.
Shout out to you, Tina. How are you doing? She's also another investigator, author from Fort Wayne.
Great girl.
Sisters are fabulous friends of mine. I've known them for years.
We got a lot of people here. Julie Webster, Julie from PPI.
I'm the odd man out.
But that's really cool.
Yeah, Toledo, Ohio.
So
cool.
on all these events that are coming up, especially, you've got the two big ones, right? You've got Post Down in September.
Yeah.
Now you've got Are you involved with Mansfield too?
I'm not. I've been asked to be part of several events that was being done there. The times that I was asked and was approached about doing anything with Mansfield, the timing never worked out for me. I'm like, it's just too far away right now. It's a whole nother beast. Mansfield is a whole nother beast when it comes to doing events. So, I haven't done anything with Mansfield yet.
Okay. Now going back to Post Down, Daryl and the family and Keith and everybody, just by the people that are going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. You're right, Greg. It is. So it's put on by myself, Keith Age, and Daryl Wisman. It's basically Daryl and Brenda Wisman's thank you to the paranormal community for supporting them throughout the years. So we throw on this huge meet and greet. And generally in the past years, we were seeing, probably, 35 tables, maybe 40 tables, various vendors, metaphysical vendors, T-shirt vendors. I mean, people who just do tarot readings, paranormal teams. I mean, you name it, authors, comic book creators, things of that nature, pop culture people. They all fit in perfectly with this. And 2020 was definitely hard. We refused to cancel the event. We followed Ohio's state guidelines for COVID. We kept everybody socially distanced. We did temperature readings. We did masks. We did the whole 9 yards, and it was a success, thankfully. But 2021, when we first started planning this, we hadn't even set a date yet, and we already had over a dozen vendors that were already waiting to give their information and reserve their table. So already now we've doubled the size of any of non-con's biggest years, and we're still 7 months away from the event yet. So now we're trying to figure out whether or not we're going to be able to fit everybody in this huge school, because if we have to social distance yet again in September, it's going to take the entire school in order to put these vendors in there. It's a 2-day indoor event. It used to be just 1 day, used to be outdoors. It was a full day, and you did an investigation at the end if you wanted to buy a ticket, but it was an outdoor event. So after getting tired of dealing with the fall elements, sometimes it was beautiful, sometimes it was cold, sometimes it was rainy. Everybody had canopies, but then you'd get a rogue wind that would come across the front of Poasttown Elementary there, and canopies were just flying. So, Keith had said the year before last, he says, "Hey, give me a call, bud." So I called him up, and he's like, "What do you think about doing a 2-day event instead of one and moving this indoors?" And at first, I'm not going to lie, I thought he was a little crazy. So after I realized that he really wasn't off his meds and that he was serious, we really started to go into, because we had to change the entire format of this event. And it's been a hit. It's been fantastic. It's been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's a big one. And then there's another one that I'm going to put out there. I'm not even supposed to talk about this, Greg. I'm going to talk about it because we've got enough people in here, so I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Hold on, people.
There isn't a date yet. There is, but we haven't. We have not yet locked it in. But at this point in time, there's about an 85 to 90% chance that the Hannah House Paranormal Meet and Greet is going to restart up annually again. The Hannah House everybody who's been wondering what's going on with the Hannah House. Of course, they knew that there was some quarrel there where there was a possibility that, the ownership of the house would need to split, causing a sell off and yada, yada, yada. Not at all the situation anymore. So, they got a hold of me and said, "Hey, what do you think about doing this?" And I said, "Let's freaking do it." So we're actually, we're moving forward with plans for the Hannah House Meet and Greet this year, but nothing is set in stone yet. So we haven't press released anything on it yet. So everybody's hearing it first here.
So now, were you going to go ahead and keep it the same way it was for all those other years?
Absolutely. Yes, but we're going to add some things. We might be, we've entertained the idea of doing some maybe private viewing of film release. We're thinking about, we want to keep it the way it always was because people love it. But Danielle Garrison started many years ago, really turned into something wonderful. And after a while, when you're there enough and you're part of it, you realize that people just love the element there. And they love the feel of it. It was always too short as a 4-hour event on a Saturday. But when it happened, it went by so fast, and everybody was like, "God dang, I just want to slow the day down and just take this in and enjoy it," because it's so beautiful being on the property.
Oh yeah.
The vendors, the groups, all the people who come. You've been there many times in the past along with Dale. It's people like you guys, setting up over underneath the tree over there, just to the left of the porch. I know exactly where you guys usually set up. So when it went away, because we were unsure about the future of the Hannah House, every single year I got people that are just, can we do this? Can we do this? It's like, it's not up to me. I don't even want to do it if everything is so uncertain at this point. So, I threw my hands up in the air and just said, I gotta back out. Because when I took it over, we were seeing probably 35 to 40 vendors, but there towards the end, we were pulling 75 vendors into that event, and now it was 6 to 8 hour event now, and so it's grown quite substantially. So we want to continue that. We really do, but it's a lot of work. It really is. So I think this year I'm going to employ some people. I got a lot of good people around me that are always willing to help me out and do whatever I need to make the event successful. As a matter of fact, I have more people who volunteer than I actually have jobs for. That's how blessed I am. So, with everything that's going on, I think I'm going to delegate some responsibilities out and get some other people involved in it. And so it can then continue to grow and be a little bit less on my back.
Wow.
I want to be able to enjoy it more.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's just the whole entire atmosphere was just awesome. TJ, were you there before?
No, I've never been.
Oh man, you got to do it. You've got to do it.
Yeah, Jason's after me to do it, so
I'm telling you that.
Yeah, I want him to come to non-con because we're the Firelands podcast is a vendor there. I haven't announced it yet, but that's coming out tomorrow. And if we do something for the Hannah House, I wouldn't mind doing a sponsorship program for the event to try to get some money back to the Hannah House hands. Because they put a lot of money out for us to host that event, and all they take in is just tour money.
Right.
So, I'd love to do that. But at any rate, we're going to be a sponsor of that event too. So T's got to come to at least one or two of those events.
Oh, well.
Oh, that, the highlight in the afternoon of the last year that it was there was I'm standing there where I'm talking about three different people, and all of a sudden I hear this airplane, and I hear this particular pitch of the props, and I'm looking up through the trees, and it was a B-29 bomber. Wow. You remember that when it went over?
I do remember that, actually, because I think everybody at the event's head was straight up, and I'm going, what the hell is everybody looking at?
Wow.
I can hear it, but I can't see it because I was on the porch. So I'm walking down the steps trying to see it, and I caught just a glimpse of the tail section, and that was it.
It was just like a sign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whatever the sign happened to be, but
it's a very distinctive sound.
Oh yeah, the pitches on those were, it's like hearing a 52.
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, and they don't move really fast. You hear them coming from a long ways, and you hear them long after they've passed you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, they don't appear to be moving that fast because they're so friggin' big.
Because they're so big. That's true. Yeah. You're right.
A house flying through the air tends to look slow.
Well, you know what though? I say that, but Greg, a half a mile from my house, we have A-10 warthogs. That are flying 200 feet above my freaking house, 3-4 days a week. And we used to have the F-15 program here. So, I mean, the F-18 Hornets are here. We still got 2 F-100s that are still housed and flying.
Holy
so there's a lot of stuff at Fort Wayne International at the 122nd Fighter Wing. And it's great. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I hear them going, and I run out my back door so I can look up and check them out. Doesn't matter if they're A-10s or not. I mean, I go into full-blown child mode anytime I hear them. I mean, because you hear airlines, flying over all the time, because it's international airport too. But when you got the jets out, and especially when they do the air shows, because they're doing maneuvers right over my backyard. So, we love all that stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
Love it all.
Back in the day, it was F-4s, the Phantoms, and Hueys, and I was involved with that in Alabama before I went over. That kind of thing. And when you see it all, and I'm a big World War II freak. So as far as aviation and World War II, I met Poppy Boyington. Poppy Boyington, I think it was, from Baba Black Sheep. Remember that series on TV?
Okay. Yeah.
Pappy Boyington. Poppy.
Yeah. There you go. You got it.
God. Yeah, that
Hey,
was
real quick. I see Angie Gerber just asked a question. Will you have any investigations at the Hannah House after the event? Probably not, Angie. We get up for that, and our day starts at like 5 a.m. preparing for everybody to show up because everybody gets there an hour before you tell them to. So
But
if you tell them,
I will be doing in our booth there. I will be doing inventions. I will be doing inventions back there. Her first question is if we will be doing inventions there, and I will be doing inventions.
yes,
I might do. I don't know what I'm going to invent yet, but it probably be something really cool.
he's quite the inventor.
I'm an inventor in my
Are you
spiritual.
really?
No,
No.
no.
No,
I'm a smart ass.
I mean, yeah,
I'm a smart ass. I'm a smart ass in my part in my spare time.
That bullshit.
Yeah,
That went right over my head.
yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I picked right up on it. I knew exactly what it was. We've known each other too long. Hey, what's up, Jackie Hicks? But just to get back to Angie, I'm actually hosting a murder dinner at the Hannah House. I've got 2 murder mystery dinners going on. Okay, so I got one on May 15th at Post Town. I think there's 3 tickets left for that. And basically, you come in, you're fed, okay, and we do a murder mystery game that I wrote, and you get all kinds of free prizes and all that stuff. Somebody dies, somebody's a killer, freebies are earned. If you win the murder mystery, you win a big treasure trove of freebies. It's a good time. So after like the 2.5 hour murder mystery dinner, we are investigating Post Town. So, and that includes anybody who just wants to crash there overnight. I bought the place for that too, in case anybody just doesn't want to get a hotel or drive. We can crash at the school. The other thing is, getting back to you, Angie, is that I'm also hosting a murder mystery dinner at the Hannah House, and that's going to be June 12th, Saturday, June 12th. And there are still 6 tickets left for that one as well. Only 13 people allowed at these events. Okay, ticket cost is $85 for the whole night. The Hannah House is going to be an Italian spaghetti dinner. So it's going to be a 2.5 hour murder mystery inside the dining room of the Hannah House, followed by an hour break, and then we go into a full-blown paranormal investigation of the Hannah House.
Are there only 6 spots left?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're gonna have a real live corpse.
I mean, I could probably find one out in the side yard.
Corpse.
It's Indianapolis. It's 2 miles. No, it's like 1.5 miles off of downtown.
I feel like a corpse right now. I could definitely do that for you. I feel terrible.
Linda Morrison said that TJ, an inventor, she says, need to look into this.
And do your research. I'm telling you, you're going to be really surprised on all the things I've invented.
That's awesome. That's just, when it comes down to it. When we were at Hannah the last time,
mm-hmm.
we were able to go in on a private. GRS was right before they seemed to be, they were closing up.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be just crazy that night. And it was just quiet as a mouse.
Sure.
And, like I said before, I really love the place. I was transfixed the first time I was there, and I went around and they were doing the tours on the backside.
Mm-hmm.
And where that vine goes up the side of the house?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what that vine is, right?
A vine?
No, it's a morning glory vine.
Okay.
The morning glories that you plant in the ground in the spring, and the vines go up about 8 or 10 feet, and they never get any bigger than the size of a fishing line. And here you got this humongous root system. The things from the 1800s.
Oh wow. That vine's probably been there 150 years, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Once you get there and take a look at that, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't really realize that, Greg. Thanks for that little tip, though. That's pretty good. I didn't even realize that, but you're right.
Yes,
you're right. In my line of work, we kill a lot of those morning glory vines. They die.
Sodium
hypochlorite will burn those things to the ground, man.
Well, I don't even want to get into that.
No, we won't. But Yeah, so I mean, I know that I've been really, really busy, but I'm hoping like heck that to get TJ out. That would be freaking sweet. Maybe even do pre-recorded, interview some people. At
When is that?
Well, I can't tell you a date on that. We'll have to talk.
Okay.
We'll have to talk backstage.
I'll probably be
But,
busy that
It's
day.
over.
And then
I think I'm busy that day though. I don't like large groups of people.
Angie came back with how do you get tickets for Hannah House in June?
And Angie, just private message me. I'll send you a pay link if you want tickets. Okay.
Oh, cool.
I don't put it out there because I don't want it getting scammed or virused or anything like that, because it is banking information. So I keep it between myself and the other person. All you have to do is just PayPal the money and say what it's for or whatever. I confirm almost immediately as soon as it's been received.
That's a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
For a lot of the people that are joining in too, they know that last week I had the other Jason Snyder, and this has been a funny point to me for quite some time now, because I can remember making a comment on your guys' podcast back then about Hellier days about the fact there's another Jason Snyder floating around.
Yeah.
And you guys went ahead and said, "Oh yeah, well, but he's
only
his
one.
name." Huh?
There can be only one. I'm expecting a full-on sword fight when they meet, or
Sword fight.
Life is not worth living.
I was trying to go ahead and say, it's back-to-back Jasons.
Right.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I don't know if he's been in here or if he's in here or if he will watch this episode, but if you are watching, Mr. Snyder, I will get back to you. I'm not ignoring your message. You did send me a very nice message, and I did want to. I've just been very busy. I do apologize.
Make sure you got your sword the next time you guys are around each other.
Pistols.
No, the Highlander, man. There can be only one Jason Snyder. It's got to be a sword fight, dude. It's got to be a sword fight.
You don't want to bring pistols in there?
No, it's got to be a sword fight.
It's got to be swords.
Yeah, it's got to be a sword fight.
It's gotta be
Swashbucklers.
Yeah.
Swashbuckling sword fight. Yeah, you got it, buddy. You got it. Yep.
Knee-high boots and all that. And sleeves.
Yeah.
Jason has a pair.
And then I do. I've got several pair of zip-ups.
Knee-high and thigh-high boots. He has both.
Both of them.
Both of them.
And we'll tie a chain to our belt buckles.
Yeah.
On our waistbands.
Keep it fair.
So you can't run away from each other. So just sit there and just stab the shit out of each other the entire time. Die by like a million fucking paper cuts.
Right. See what I do to things? I mess everything up.
You have 3 or 4 vans of paramedics standing by just to go ahead and take care of the paper cuts.
Yeah. The main vendor at that show is going to be Band-Aid.
I'll just have somebody standing off the side, just spraying it down with a garden hose.
We just signed them on. We just got them on.
Just throw a little salt on each one of them.
Johnson's. We're hoping for Johnson's and Johnson. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's
Guys
great.
be screaming like they were
That's
on
exactly
fire.
what I want.
Salt.
Cancer from their talcum powder.
Right.
Can't wait.
Oh.
Yep. Well, you invited us here.
So do you really like to live in Fort Wayne?
I do. It's a perfect size city for me. We got about 267,000 people here, so it's not huge. But it's not small either. We've got a pretty great music scene here. Locally, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and our city's growing. Like right now, we're revamping all of our riverfront areas, building a lot of multi-level buildings downtown. Somewhere close to $1 billion in 5 years in spending in just the downtown area. So it's really busting there now. So I absolutely love it here.
Okay, so now TJ, I noticed that you spend quite a bit of time on the water on vacations, huh?
Yeah, all the time. I'm always on vacation. Actually, I actually live right next to the water. I live in the armpit of Ohio. I live in between Cleveland and Toledo and Sandusky. So I live right now I could walk maybe a 10-15 minute walk to the water right now from where I'm at. Maybe no, you know what? Maybe a 10-minute walk.
10-minute walk. And if you just walk to the back,
depends on how tired I am that day, on how long it would take me to get there. But I could walk to the water.
Yeah, And Lake Erie is literally in his backyard.
I've never been on a vacation. As soon as I opened my business, I have not been on vacation. I've not been away from my business more than 2 days in a row in 5 years. I've not been on vacations. So.
I can vouch for that too. I can vouch for that.
So
no fishing,
convention or something like that. Then like he wants to get there.
Yeah,
take his rounds and get the hell out and go home.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like the guy who wants to get there a day before and stay a day after.
Yeah. 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 I mean, we have traveled together a couple times, so he knows how I am. I leave that day, and then we do the whole the whole Griswold at the Grand Canyon, and then I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm a homebody by nature. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. So, but like Jason's urging me to spread my wings and fly. I know Jennifer, my wife, would really appreciate me leaving home every now and then. I know she's after me. Usually I'm the reason why we can't go to anything.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
So when you guys were talking earlier about all the other things paranormal, and we were talking a little bit back on the Hellier business and and the aliens and everything. When you guys were talking about that stuff, we were talking about that Woodrow Derenberger.
Yeah.
The author, the guy that wrote the story about his experience on the highway that night.
Yep.
Have you guys ever gotten really into that on your show as far as getting into the depths of all that?
We haven't. As a matter of fact, I've been meaning to talk to TJ. And hey, since you're there.
We've been talking about doing the third part or the second. Is it the second or third part of that episode? What is it?
Second full. It's been mentioned. It's got a notable mention a few times.
I mean, we're gonna do it. We're trying to lure people in. You know what I mean? And then once we decide to be stand-up guys, we will move forward with the rest of it. I think I can't get enough of it. It's got all the things that I like. But you can keep going, Jason.
It's just got a lot of layers to it.
Yeah,
it's got a ton of layers to it. So many different things, and I think that's the one thing that throws me off is the fact that with the what's the word I'm trying to think about, T?
Synchronicities.
You got it. With all the synchronicities that are involved.
Yes.
But there's so much content of different subjects, but not a lot about one that really zeroes in on anything in the entire series. And to me, that's what stands out.
I don't know if anyone is aware, but they seen on, speaking of synchronicities, and Jason and I have spoken about this before. I know Jason has brought this up to me. The girl that they found in the water tank and that on the top of that hotel. Have you guys seen that documentary on Netflix?
The Cecil.
Yeah, Cecil Hotel.
Cecil Hotel, though. They just released a documentary on it's like 4 or 5 parts on Netflix about that. And they were talking about, the internet sleuths were talking about all the way through it, the synchronicities, and they pretty much like pinned it on this death metal guy, you know what I mean? Like this death metal guy killed him, and pretty much ruined this guy's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he tried to commit suicide, it just completely ruined this dude's life. And come to find out that, she died it was just an accident. You know what I mean? One screw up in the chain of command within the police department, where they said when she was found in that water tank, that the water tank was either open or closed, and the police chief on the news said, it was closed. The water tank was sealed. That's why we didn't see her. Right. But that he was relayed the information wrong. Yeah. It was open because the guy that the maintenance man that found her actually says on record that he found her and it was open. You know what I mean? So, and all that one little detail almost cost another man his life. You know what I mean? That's super unfortunate.
Hey, real quick.
So synchronicities are cool and all, but
absolutely, yeah.
You gotta watch what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. I mean, there was a lot of things that they were talking about through the entire episode. They started talking about in the beginning. I picked up on them immediately. Mm-hmm. They were talking about the difference in the hatch. I said right off the bat, boom. What about the maintenance guy that was up there looking at it?
Yep.
He didn't open it. That wasn't open. I mean, what's the situation with that? And you had to watch the entire series in order to find out that that's exactly what it was. It was a freaking typo.
But I think the Hellier documentary, the synchronicities are a little bit different because they're not so much just evidence synchronicities, but there are also synchronicities within the people that are discovering these clues. You know what I mean? The people that made the documentary. You know what I mean? That's a little different when they're personal synchronicities within it, and that's what, like Jason said, the layers. That's what I like about most of this stuff. When I find something like that, like Hellier, the layers of that. You know what I mean? And it's got all the things I like.
Yeah,
the Hollow Earth thing. You know what I mean? I mean, not necessarily Hollow Earth, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, that's
I believe the moon is hollow. It's a spaceship, and Jason gets mad at me all the time when I bring that up, but it's the truth.
I don't get mad. I just like to poke fun at him a little bit. Real quick, just a couple of shout outs because a bunch of people came in. Dale says, if you're referring to the Cecil Hotel, it was on the world's most unexplained.
Well,
there's been so much crazy stuff that's happened at the Cecil Hotel. I mean, crazy stuff.
Crazy. The Night Stalker, he used to murder people and go up the stairs with his underwear covered in blood, and nobody would say a word. And that's what he found out.
They literally said he would throw his bloody clothes in a dumpster and come in naked.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy, man. It's crazy, dude. The shit that's gone on at that hotel, it's really, I'd be really surprised if there wasn't an impression left there. Some kind of impression. You know what I mean? There's no way. No way.
But Dale says, I had a segment on the same show about the White House ghost. That's another interesting one, Dale. And if anybody out there that's never heard of Dale Kaczmarek, check the guy out. He's been paranormal investigating since probably close to the year I was born.
Wow.
I mean, but he's been on a lot of shows. He was, recognized very, very early on. Even in the 80s, he's done a ton of stuff. Very good guy. Check him out. A shout out to Jackie Berg Hicks, the other part of the Paris sisters. She's in here. And
Tina Marie.
Jake Lindsay, Magi Jake Lindsay. I can't wait to see you at the non-con as well, buddy. Super great guy. So, but from a filmmaker standpoint, you want a story or you want a dig that has a lot of layers, because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to find yourself reaching for substance, right? For a show. So Hellier was perfect.
Yeah.
Hellier was really, really perfect because it had so much to it.
I just happened upon that on YouTube, because I'm a YouTube freak. You know what I mean? I'm always on YouTube, and then I just happened to catch, I think maybe like a middle episode of it, and I was like, man, I got to go back and watch the rest of this. And I told Jason, and Jason's like, oh yeah, you don't know? I'm like, no, I had no idea. So
actually, for Hellier, you brought it to my attention.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you did. And here's the thing: I was folding clothes when you sent me. You just sent me a simple text that just said Hellier, and I'm like, what the hell is that? You're like, check it out. So I get on YouTube and I type it in, and I watched the trailer for it. And I didn't leave the house for a fucking day and a half. I watched the entire thing, starting right then and there. While I was folding clothes.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys watched it?
Twice.
And
I feel like I need to watch it again before we talk about it.
We're just
so much
sitting here talking about it now. I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to watch it again just because we talked about it.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of people on here that have seen it, and they're really the people that made it happen. I had a story about way back in the 80s. This was like 88. We started fishing. We were professional muskie fishermen. We used to do the whole southern end, Kentucky, especially with Cave Run,
right
on the east side. And we used to always pick on each other, the guys from Kentucky and West Virginia, and we were from Illinois. And it was like, hey, well, hey, you got your Mothman.
Right.
And they'd go, you don't got none. You don't have a Mothman.
Right.
And then they'd go on and they'd say something like, no, we got the Grays.
Right.
And at that point I was going, Grays.
What the hell is that?
And they're going, little guys about that big. They're in the boat. We're all talking as we're casting and everything.
A bunch of good old boys too, right?
And it's where they at? And he'd go, well, we got him in our backyard in the cave where Daddy always gets the coal out of.
Right. My stepfather's grandmother She had a house on top of a mountain in West Virginia, and she used to talk about the mountain sprites. That's what she called them, sprites, little gray people. And she used to have, that shit used to freak me out, man. And then watching Hellier and seeing that, I'm like, man, you know, it set a chill up my spine. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. You know what I mean? I just thought she was just a crazy old lady. You know what I mean? Trying to scare it. You know what I mean? Just trying to scare a bunch of kids, because she lived in a smaller house, so there was never room enough for all us boys. So the boys would have to sleep in the van, and all the adults got the beds in the house. You know what I mean? So you'd get up in the morning to take a leak, and there'd be a mountain lion standing outside the van or something. You know what I mean? So, I think I thought growing up, maybe that she was just telling us that because of the mountain lion. She wanted to keep us in the van until somebody come out and got us. You know what I mean? But no, that's a widespread tale within the hills.
We forgot to go ahead and say hi to Tina Marie Ronan.
Yes, I am so sorry. I did see that she popped in.
Yeah, she's here.
Hi, Tina Marie.
Tina.
Can't wait to see you at NonCon. I haven't seen her since the last Mid-South down in Louisville, Kentucky. So she's going to actually be at NonCon as well. So it'll be a pleasure to be able to catch up with her and see her again. Yeah, she's got one of the best booths out there. I mean, she sells a shit ton of everything, but all the steampunk stuff that she has is
the hats and the goggles and
yeah.
She's with Psychics Unite too.
She is.
I need to start using my middle name more.
And she's an amazing lady. Julie Webster's here. Debbie Stewart Wagner.
Yeah, I need to start using my
Debbie
middle name more.
Candy Cool.
I need 3 names on my Facebook profile as well.
3 names?
Yeah. Like Terry James Gilbert. I need to start doing that. That way when people refer to me, they, like, you guys know everyone's middle name. Like Tina Marie and all that stuff. It's just, how do you guys keep track of all that?
That's actually how her screen name is, Tina Marie. So, I mean, Tina Marie Ronan is her name.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't see it on here, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, she's
she may have took off already, or she might be.
She's a wonderful lady.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and a lot of fun. That's the one thing about the events is the camaraderie, amongst everybody. You get a very, very good group of vendors. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've had a bad group of vendors for any event ever. And you can have a weekend where you'll see 1,200, 1,500 people. And then you can have a weekend of really, really crappy bad weather where only 200 people come through. But it doesn't matter because you still have the time of your freaking lives. Because when we get together for these cons, sometimes it's the only time we see each other.
Right.
So, we speak on Facebook and some of us are almost like best friends, but we don't get to see one another.
Right.
And then when we get together, it's just like, it's just a good weekend. There's so many good people.
Community is the best thing about most stuff that you do anyways,
right.
Have those personal relationships, things like that. That makes all that stuff worth doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sure does, man. Yeah, it really does. I have to agree with that. And if not, if anything, just getting out there and being out there with the public and shaking hands with people and doing photos with people bring their kids to our events.
Right.
And which is why for my events, I always try to have face painting, balloon games, some kind of stuff, or even for just the kids, where they're bored because their parents are just totally cracked out at all the vendors and all the merchandise and all the authors and people signing things. And it's really, really cool to be able to connect with the younger ones. And some of them don't know anything about what they're doing there. And other ones will know every single person in the paranormal on television and will ask you every great question you've ever heard.
Well, that says a lot about the event, that it's family friendly. You know what I mean? That says a lot about what you guys are trying to do. You know what I mean? That's dope.
Yeah. And everybody's there to help everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the key. That's the key. One of the key words. And, like everybody in this Psychics United, with Unite is, that's Scotty Rourke and Terry Rourke.
Yeah.
And then you got the Hodgsons.
Yeah.
And Steve.
Yeah. Steve and Jen were actually on our podcast a couple months ago.
Yes.
And then they turned around. I asked them if they would send a couple books so we can give away in our podcast when people started actually watching us.
Mm-hmm.
And So they sent us like a couple boxes of them. Like I got a box. I think
I have a box of books as well.
I mean, I was like, these guys are freaking sweet.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I hope hopefully they'll be make it to Hannah.
Oh yeah, well, you know, they might. I mean, it's in their backyard, but then again, you know, until tonight, nobody really knew anything about that being in the plans.
Sure.
It's been out now for what, 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
you
right
know?
around there.
So, and right now with COVID, everybody's just. And here's the thing about the non-con event, Greg. I haven't even announced the biggest guest of the event yet. I'm pulling in people that on levels that we've never pulled in before.
Just tell him I'm going to be there.
Yeah, he's going to be there. Number one.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the big announcement. I'm going to be there.
So we have at least one celebrity that'll be there.
At least one, me.
At least one, and then I can't tell you about the other ones yet because you know, we're talking to managers and people like that. We're not actually talking to these people. Mm-hmm. So if that tells you roundabout where they are, you know, I mean, when you're having a free event, you don't have money to spend. You can't afford to pay somebody $1,000 appearance fee and cover their hotel and food and all that stuff.
Right.
You know, so when these people are coming to us, I'm going, well, you know, either the event circuit's really, really, really bad, or, you know, the event is finally the event's finally making it, you know, making a name for itself, which is fantastic. Right. It's fantastic. And you know, I got to thank Keith Age for most of that. Keith, everybody, all three of us have a very, very important part in the event planning. Keith brings so many freaking people to the table. You know, and he just sends them my way, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them at a time. And I'm like, stop, just stop. I'll get to them all, you know, because then you have to do graphics and then you have to copy and paste. You got to get their information. If they're missing things, you got to talk back and forth. So I do the legwork. And to me, that's the actual solid labor hours on the job itself.
He was out here about three weeks ago.
He was, and I did watch that episode. I watched it the next day. It was a great show. Great show. The guys, the Keith has been like a brother to me for many, many years, and I love working with him. The best thing about Post Town is seeing how much work Daryl and Brenda put into taking care of that place. They'll spend an entire week before the event doing all the floors, wiping walls, painting things, getting things cleaned up, scrubbed. I mean, it's amazing. They work their butts off.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, and then while we're there all freaking weekend long, they are the nicest people. I mean, there's so much love in those people's hearts. It's hard not to. It's really, really hard not to just really become attached to Daryl and Brenda because they're so hospitable.
Well, I met him one time. That's all I met him, and that's all I needed to meet him.
Where'd you meet him at?
At Post Town.
Oh, okay.
We did an investigation there, the same weekend that we did Mansfield.
Ah, yeah. You seen? And was that with Dale?
Yeah.
Dale likes to piggyback events. I don't know how you guys do it, but every time he comes into the Hannah house, he'll come in there in the morning. You guys will come in, set up, stay most of the day, head out, and you guys are off to wherever your investigation is because you guys do an investigation that night.
Yeah, the one time was Thornhaven.
Yeah.
That was the last time we did that, and then
it's a decent place.
He seemed to have disappeared.
Oh yeah, he did.
My dad's actually done Mansfield as well. He did 2 to 3 at Mansfield.
While it was still open for
business. He said it was a spooky place even back then. He said it was a really, really, really spooky place to be in.
Yeah,
not only the prison environment itself, but he said it was a creepy place. It was so bad there that he would wake up in the morning and there'd be snow on his blanket. You know what I mean? They didn't have the windows to be busted out. He said it's a really freaky place. It wasn't a joke. My dad was actually there.
You know, there's one that tops that, and that's Brushy Mountain.
Brushy Mountain?
I've heard a lot about that actually.
Down in Tennessee.
Tennessee,
yeah, Brushy Mountain, yeah.
And we were there, and it's got a lot of, it's that slave business where they would, you know, a kid's driving his bicycle down the street, and the policeman stops him and asks him what he's doing. And, you cross the yellow line, and he goes and sees the judge, and the judge goes 2 years and ships him to Brushy Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kid goes in there 9 or 10 years old, and he dies there when he's 52.
Yeah, we see an awful lot of that, don't we?
Keeps on compounding everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And they never get out.
Yeah.
There's a horrible.
That's cool about that, about Post Town, though. You got somebody there to caretake the place that cares about it and is going to keep it around. So there's a lot of places that, that'll probably be, lost forever if someone doesn't take care of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Daryl and his wife actually live there. That's their residence. But here's the thing, even when the school hasn't even been, Daryl went to school there in like the 3rd or 4th grade. I mean, and he's like old as dirt. Okay. Right. So he'll appreciate me saying that one. But here's the thing, you walk in on any given day in the Post Town school, if you can get them to open the door, those floors are polished. The floors have shine to them. The desks are all in order. I mean, things are the way that the paranormal investigators leave them, like the doll rooms, all the messages on all the chalkboards and the walls and things like that. He's got a veterans wall in there. But man, they care for that school like it's still open.
Right.
It's really freaking awesome what they do there. And, they're open to the community too. Every time there's a really bad thunderstorm that's got tornado watches or anything out like that, you'll see Daryl post on the Post Town website, just a heads up to everybody in the Middletown community, the southeast door or whatever is unlocked for anybody who needs to seek shelter tonight before, during the storm. So he opens that school for anybody, opens it up for police training, fire department training, all kinds of stuff.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, and the problem is that when I go there, I see the lack of support shown back to Daryl. The town of Middletown doesn't really support him too much there. And I see that guy just opens up his own home literally to the community. And, it's Middletown is a tough nut to crack. My mom lived there for years.
Why is that?
I don't really know. I don't know if it's just a Bible town. I don't know if it's just they don't like what he does with the place, or if it's just Middletown or just a bunch of unsupporting bastards. I mean, he does events there that, that do very well. Like he'll do car shows there and do auctions and things like that there, and they do very well. But those specialty things like that pull people in from all over. It's like non-con. I mean, you might have 10 people total that come through non-con that are actually from Middletown. Everybody else is from 7 or 8 different states surrounding Ohio.
Wow.
I mean, it just draws people, from the strangest places. But, you would think being right in between Dayton and right in between Cincinnati, that there would be a line out the door.
Boy, that'd have to be.
It's 20 minutes from either one of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you would think that you'd be drawing people from 2 of those large cities. And, we do very well there. I'm not going to lie. We're going to do very well this year too. But it's just a tough nut to crack out there. It really is.
Oh, that's pretty hard to believe, really. But, look at Cleveland. Cleveland was the same way, I think, from what we've seen of Cleveland with just the castle. I can't remember the name of the castle.
Franklin Castle, is it?
Franklin.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of big cathedral type places that Dale took us to. I want to say like not Poor Boys. It had something to do with back in the day. It was like a big giant church, huge, and it was the same thing. People are just they don't care about it, and they're going to end up knocking that down too.
Yeah,
which is a friggin' shame, but. I know.
It's funny here because it seems like whenever there's endangered historic structures, it's like a huge rush to get in and investigate these places. So right before they take the wrecking ball to a couple of these places in the last couple of years, I've gotten to go in and investigate them. And because I'm not an ambulance chaser, but I'm not afraid to walk up to somebody and go, look, it's really too bad that this beautiful historical structure is going to go to the wayside, but can I have the keys for the night? And they're usually like, you know what? Why the hell not? So hey, Jen Hodson's in now.
Hey, Jen.
Thanks for stopping in.
That's awesome. Good to see you.
Yeah, it really does suck because, there does seem to be a huge lack of support in the historic structures. I mean, anytime you talk to people, everybody's like, "Oh, it's such a sad thing to watch these, torn down year after year after year," and you're just kind of like, well, why aren't we doing something about it? A lot of times, people like us try to, but there's red tape. There's somebody in front of you who don't want to see it get saved, and there's some sort of a value behind knocking it over and demolishing it, and it just happens anyways.
I had gotten on a real big point myself as far as Gettysburg was concerned, and I have this little thorn in my side pertaining to the fact that there's people that actually wanted to remove a lot of those statues, and it's like, it's our history,
Yeah.
Come on, let's get real about this stuff. They died just like everybody else died there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dale had a real interesting thing. A side note on Gettysburg with all the statues, all the commanders, all the generals, their horses, whatever pose they were in, would be able to tell you whether or not they survived, they were wounded, or they died.
Yeah, usually by whatever leg is lifted up off the ground.
Yeah, the two front legs.
Mm-hmm.
Like Longstreet. Longstreet made it all the way through.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other ones didn't.
Right.
Reynolds went. That kind of thing. So
yeah.
But it's really neat. And I think that Ohio's got a lot of real great things at the same time as Indiana.
Oh yeah, Ohio's got 5 big cities in that state. There's more big cities in Ohio than a lot of other states that are out there. Like Dale just mentioned, St. Joseph Hospital in Lorain, Ohio.
Right.
Another good one.
We went to Fairpoint Harbor up on it's a lighthouse.
Where was that at?
It's outside of Cleveland.
Like northeast of Cleveland, like towards Pennsylvania, like Ashtabula?
It was up north.
Medina, Ashtabula, probably.
Dale will comment in there, but we did that lighthouse. He says the hospital's gone.
Yeah, they tore the hospital down. Yeah, they did.
That's a shame.
Yep, they sure did. A couple of years back.
What
about you, Greg? Let me ask you a question, buddy.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to investigate?
One or two. The first one would be Gettysburg. I would want to go back just because of my allegiance to them, to the ones that died.
Sure.
I had a real connection in the triangular field where I went down, and there were one whole side is trees, and I was just drawn over there and set up my gear, and they literally were coming out of the woods.
I've heard that about Gettysburg. I really have.
I did not see them, but I felt them and sensed them.
That's what I hear. Being on the battlefields, sensing the energies from them during certain times. I've missed the Gettysburg events for over a decade.
I would just like to go just to go.
That's it. I don't know if I want to do an event, but I just want to go.
Yeah, would love to be there.
A lot of people that are in here right now know my story because that's where my interest started when I was a kid at 10.
Really?
And I was there with my father and my grandma and my uncle and my sister. And we went, and I didn't go back until 4 years ago with Dale.
Oh, wow.
So I had never been back. So I had a picture of what I saw, where I was at, what was in front of me, how it was set up and everything. And I tried to piece it together. And on the last day, we went back to Reynolds Woods where he was killed. And it was on that spot that back in the day, they had a picket fence in front. just to protect people from going in. And the wind would blow, and then the wind would stop. And as soon as the wind would slow down, we all started hearing the gunshots and the cannons and the screaming and the horses screaming, and then it would go away, and then it would start back up again, and it went on the whole entire time we were there, because my father is one of those people that you went to a huge place like that, the first place you could turn into, that's where you were for the day. It had 23 stops. You were on stop number 1, and you ain't going to go any farther than that.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
With the 54 Chevy and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So now let me ask you a question. So that was that place still there, the way that you remembered it all these years after you went back?
No, because they have now taken all those spots, taken them back to the way they were the year of the battle.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if there all these trees and everything that were growing in between on a lot of these spots have been removed to make it just the same way
sure
as the battle.
Right.
You know,
which is awesome. I mean, I think the preservation of Gettysburg is huge. You know, I really do.
I've never been to a place that carried that kind of dread.
Right. I can only imagine. I mean, a lot of people lost their lives there.
Oh my God. It was just
senseless.
You know, it was just you going right into the wood chipper, period.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No other way to put it. But you know,
absolutely.
That's the amazing, you know, just to think that it and all it did was it really bound us together as a nation. And there's a lot of people that don't think it did. But that's the way it is. You know, we don't have to get into that part. But now from there, then I would say the Rhodes Hotel.
Nah, I like the Rhodes. I did a murder dinner there 2 years ago.
I've been there, I think, 4 times now.
Really?
I have a favorite room, and it was just everybody. Devin Evans is here too. She's another psychic medium from a psychic.
Is she in there?
She was earlier. I saw her name, and I thought I better make sure I said hi to her, because her and Jen are all partners. So is Kelly Griffey. She's another one.
Oh, okay. Part of the clan then.
Yeah, the great people.
Yeah, Dale said he's going to see his name on the donation board at Gettysburg. He donates to the American Battlefield Trust. That's pretty awesome, Dale.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. That really is. I'm all for donating for memorials and things like that to remember our past, to remember why we are where we are. I know a lot of people hate our world today, but you know, that's got nothing to do with how we became the way we are today, because you don't appreciate enough of it.
It's America.
It's America, man. It's freaking America.
You know, God, you know, if you don't want it, go somewhere else. What the heck?
Jen says you will see us all at Post Town. There is no doubt about it, because I'm going to tell you something. Jen has brought like 4 or 5 or 6 vendors to the con this year as well. So all of you guys are all going to be lined up along one wall together. I got a lot of groups of people that want to be together, so it's going to be a blast.
There's another one here. This Olivia says, I love the Rhodes. They're my neighbor. Good old Rhodes Hotel.
Yeah.
Which room is your favorite room, Greg? The room that I can't remember his name. The young man that was the son of the owners that died from TB. Far room on the end of the hallway.
On the right, far on down on the right, yes, from the stairs.
On the right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I slept in that room. And yeah, I mean, by far, probably, let me tell you something. Throughout the night during the investigation, it wasn't very active, but that is the most restless night's sleep I have ever had in that room.
I think I've slept in there now 3 times.
I tossed and turned and tossed and turned and tossed and turned. I mean, I just couldn't. And I don't have a problem sleeping in haunted places. I do it all the time because I'm a cheap ass and don't buy hotel rooms. So that was a room that, you know, that I'll never forget sleeping in. I'm like, what is it about this freaking room? Worst night's sleep ever. I was so tired the next day driving home.
I wish somebody would put his name in there because it's Jake.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Was it John or something?
Now, Olivia would probably know more than any one of us. She literally, when she says neighbor, she literally lives across the street and down a couple of doors. She's she's out there by like across the street from the Asher Walton house.
Then she was over there the last time we were there this last year.
Might have.
October.
If she didn't, if she wasn't part of it, I'm sure she came over and at least said hi.
I've gotten to the point when I go to bed in there, I'd go into the room, I'd open up my sleeping bag on the bed, and I went, close the door, turn off the light, and I said, look, I says, I'm going to be in the sleeping bag. I'm going to move over a little bit. If you want to lay down, you're more than welcome. Just don't bother me. And I went to bed.
You see, people do that. Like they talk to the spirits before they go to sleep or when they wake up. And I'm just like, good night, everybody. I'm going to bed. I go to bed. I've got no ritual. Now, do you know who Mike Simpson is, Greg?
No.
Okay. He's a really good investigator, and you'll meet him at Post Town. He's part of Dayton Haunted Explorers, but he ran for Ghost Hunts USA for quite a few years. And he's been at several of my events, my non-cons, the Hannah House, a couple murder dinners, a couple investigations. This guy, when he first shows up to an investigation, he walks through and introduces himself to the house and talks to the spirits. Just as soon, I mean, not right before the investigation, but like earlier in the day. Like he walks in and he's just like, hey, yo, what up? This is your space. I'm Mike. We're going to be asking you guys some questions tonight, so I don't want no tension between us. I mean, I sit there and watch him go through his investigation ritual, and I freaking love it. He's a thorough dude.
We've got some things that are coming up that tomorrow night, Shadowhunters is premiering the video that they did on Old Baraboo Inn up by the Dells in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin Dells is beautiful country. Jen says Everett. Is Everett the name?
Oh, yeah, that's Everett, all right.
Okay.
How could I forget Everett, Jen?
Yeah, the Wisconsin Dells is beautiful country, man.
Real easy to do. But it's out of all of them, I would say that would be about it. But then I would go automatically to Mansfield.
Yeah,
that was like going into Alien when you go into the East Cell Block right before dark.
Yeah.
You could see all the way up there.
All the way up, yeah. I mean, that place is freaking amazing just to be in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, and that's something else that we've been talking about too, is doing an investigation of West Virginia Penitentiary, Moundsville.
Wow. Moundsville.
Keith and I are talking about putting something together for that possibly later this year. So keep your guys' ears open.
How come you didn't get you guys to go ahead and go with them over to Europe to Vlad's castle? I
was asked to go to Romania by a couple people actually, and I laughed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you pay attention to my life right now? I mean, I've got just enough time to get up, drink a cup of coffee, get my daughter off to a sitter, work a 12, 14-hour day, and come home, feed her, bathe her, put her to bed, and then I crash. Like, right now, I'm just in auto mode, you know? So for me, it was, this year is not the year, maybe next year, bro. I'd love to go to Vlad the Impaler's castle. I'd love to go. I would absolutely, it's been on my bucket list for many, many years.
You see, now, where I met Keith was at the Rhodes with him and Robbie Thomas.
Oh yeah. I actually filmed an episode at in Radford, Virginia, at the asylum there. A couple weeks after that Rhodes Hotel investigation.
St. Albans.
Yeah, St. Albans. And let me tell you about that place. Ooh,
oh yeah, we've been
definitely in my top 5.
They were really good there. Those spirits really knew how to turn gear off.
But we had cameras everywhere. I think we had 30 guests with us. So we were leading an investigation. Plus, you know, they were filming for the Coexistence TV show.
Right.
And that was one of them, was St. Albans. So, you know, for me, it's like I have to come back here at some point. But St. Albans, Waverly Hills, and Central State Asylum in Indianapolis before they tore it down, by far the craziest 3 places I've ever been.
I actually have a relative that died at Waverly Hills.
You do, don't you?
Mhm.
I think you mentioned that.
My
What are
grandmother's
your-
my grandmother's father actually died of tuberculosis there.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you, TJ? What are your 3 big spots?
I don't have any. I don't go anywhere, man. Are you? Everything I've ever done. I mean, everything that I've ever done has been with Jason. To be quite honest with you, I mean, I've gone to some places around here, but I mean, I really don't have a favorite. I just, to me, every place is my favorite. Just being able to experience an historical place that has if that has any kind of paranormal activity going on is fun to me. It's just
You see, TJ has gone to places and has done his own investigating long before him and I ever hooked up, even as far as that's concerned.
right.
But you know how we are, Greg.
Yeah.
When we first get into this, we're doing 4 or 5 weekends out of a month, 4 weekends out of a month, and we crack out on it until we get burned out on it, and then we sit back and take our breath.
Right.
He never went into that.
No. Once we had our second child, that kind of put the old snafu on all of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? But I mean, again, like I said, anytime that I can get out and go somewhere, with like I said, an historical place, I mean, that's to me, every place is a good experience. You know what I mean?
Urban exploration.
Yeah, I'm just that type of way. You know what I mean? I don't have a favorite anything. I have a favorite girl. That's about it. A favorite football team. That's because I'm from Ohio. But outside of that, no favorites here. Every place is cool to me.
That's a great attitude to have as far as the paranormal is concerned, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's places like you guys have talked about that like Jason and you guys have been speaking about. I'd love to be able to find the time to be able to go to. And I'm going to start making time to do that. I've got one daughter that's moved out, and the other one's 18, and my son is getting older every day. He lets us know, and we're gonna be able to have more time to be able to go do those kind of things. So we're actually, like me and Jason were speaking privately a couple of days ago. I'm actually looking forward to this spring and summer because we're going to be able to go out and do some of the things that Jason's been hounding me to go do the last year and a half, 2 years.
Wow. So we've been all cooped up.
Well, COVID and even before COVID, I just didn't have the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now I'm going to be able to have the time to go do those things.
Unfortunately, it's really, really awesome being your own boss and being a business owner, but you very, very easily become a slave to your company.
Yes,
until you get to a point to where you can walk away from it and you're not losing money. It's either continuously running or you're able to be just consciously be able to just take a step back and feel okay that you can enjoy it. Because when you're away from your baby, you're even when you're away, you're automatically thinking about what's going on. Yeah. Am I missing something? Is so-and-so doing his job the right way?
Is that guy out taking work from me right now? I mean, should I be at home right now making sure that he's not doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boy, that's
But after being in business for this long, you kind of get to the point where like it just doesn't matter anymore. There's enough work for everybody. I don't need to babysit this. I've put the time in, you know what I mean? And now it's time to start making some time to do the things that I enjoy, so
right.
Going to these events and stuff is, I think, definitely going to be. I know Jennifer, my significant other, she's really chomping at the bit. She's probably more excited about this stuff than I am, you know what I mean? So going to these events and stuff that Jason has invited to us to, she's always like, we're going, and I'm like, oh, I can't, and then she's mad at me forever. So
it'd be great to meet everybody.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Now Olivia goes ahead and now she brings up Old South Pittsburgh, and I'm going,
never been there.
Now I'm going, now of all the places, that is actually my number one or number two.
You know what? That's a number one and a number two on a lot of people's list.
What's that?
Old South Pittsburgh.
Old South Pittsburgh. Ronnie D is a friend of mine from up here, and very close to me here, and he's the one that owns it now. And he put in that fantastic effort to redo. The place was a pit.
It was terrible.
And it's
And
beautiful.
they actually shut it down and were trying to condemn it for a little while, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right before he bought it over.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's done just
That's
an
cool,
amazing
man.
job.
I can't stress that enough, how important that is to not lose places like that. You know what
That's
I mean?
one thing cool about the paranormal is we have seen a lot of historic preservation along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we've
Well,
had
and not to cut you off again, but I think the paranormal field in general is probably the reason for that. If you think about it, all this attention and all these meet and greets and cons and stuff like that, and investigations and stuff like going on at these places really helps preserve them. You know what I mean? It brings people, though people see that this could be not. I mean, as terrible as it sounds, you maybe having this and maybe make a little bit of money to keep the place around. You know what I mean? So they're more willing to, you know what I mean, open it up. You know, I think that's, I mean,
absolutely.
that's, you gotta, I think it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. I really do agree. And I think that's one of the good things about the most heartwarming things about the Hannah House is people are really, really going to be very, very excited. Like as soon as I put up the event page for the murder mystery dinner there, I was completely inundated and flooded with messages.
Cool.
Is it reopening? Is the meet and greet coming back? What's going on? Has it finally sold? Or da-da-da-da-da-da? And it's like, oh, shoe fly.
It's been in the wings for so long, you know?
Yeah. You know,
everybody still had it on their minds, but nobody knew the answers.
I get reports. People drive by there all the freaking time and they're like, oh, I got to tell you, that property is really growing in on itself. I'm like, it does every freaking year. Will you just quit already? Do you know how much money it takes to take care of that property? It's 2.5 acres around that house, and it's got 100-foot trees all the way around it. Right. I mean, you know, it literally grows on top of itself every single year. People don't understand, in order for that Hannah House to look that well, that property, we got to bring in volunteers, and we have to have cleanups. And IU sends students over once or twice a year in the spring, and they volunteer and they do a cleanup. And then, you know, Scott, the caretaker, I mean, he's constantly, if he's not out there mowing, he's calling in landscaping companies to come in and cut dead limbs and clean things up and put a huge major effort into it, because it literally takes all of that just to keep the place, you know, looking pruned and looking good. You know, it's a lot of work. People don't understand. Sometimes people are like, oh, well, they must be making all that money through those tours. And it's like, yeah, $5 a person, right? So do you know what it costs to literally just have the doors open and the lights on for just that one day?
Right.
You know? I mean, they'll spend over a couple of grand getting the property ready just for that non-con event for us.
Right.
There's so many young people today that have never seen a building like that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with everything still set up. You know, the rooms are all furnished, and you know, it's great. There's a lot of locations like that, but
I was gonna say, I'll hop on with that one. I've ever since, you know, when I first started getting into the paranormal and all that, I've always wanted to go to Post Town. Ever since. So I'm kind of excited to actually go this time.
So, you know, last year's non-con at Post Town was off the hook. Out of all of the years that we've ever had, we had Friday night investigation was like maybe 10 people. And when I got there early Friday in the afternoon, I was walking through the school. I was the only one in there. And right off the bat, you walked into the place and it was just like, ooh. I mean, it felt electric in there.
yeah.
So, you know, you're walking through the school, and I always do a lap, and I hear a desk scoot across the floor, and I hear it from all the way at the other end of the hallway, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know, it's going to be one of those weekends. And it did. So it started off with Friday, and it was just for 8 or 10 people, 12 people, whatever it was a fantastic investigation. But Saturday, we had 34 people inside of there investigating, believe it or not. Nobody had a problem. It was beautiful. We usually don't put any more than like 21, 22 people in there. But there was such a demand to get in there for the investigation. We tried to cordon everybody off as best as possible. We set rules, things like that. We actually had pieces and parts of 6 different teams in there.
Oh, wow.
And there must have been $100,000 worth of gear. inside of that school, and it was just a lot of fun. I was just making my way from group to group throughout the night that was investigating, and just sitting in on their sessions. Whether they're ghost box sessions or whether they're doing just EVPs with recorders. I mean, we were. I know Brad Ferris was actually working on an experiment that I actually started way back in the early 2000s with the string board and shadow movement down the hallway where Mrs. Johnson's classroom is and all that stuff. I mean, it was just really great to see all these small packs of people that were putting together these awesome mini investigations all over the school. It was perfect. And man, was it active. Was it active.
Well, do you want to go ahead and let us know where we can go ahead and get a hold of you guys? So everybody that's in here, if they're interested.
Well, for the Firelands podcast, they can find us on Facebook under Firelands podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean as well. If I'm not mistaken, right, T? All those
are correct. Yep, you are correct.
Okay. And he's TJ Gilbert, so if you send him a friend request or whatever, he may check out your profile and then reject you, or he'll like you, whatever he chooses.
I might creep a little bit and then accept you. It all depends.
And I'm forever desperate, so I'll add anybody because I just need friends. And
Jason's super positive, so add Jason. He's super positive. He's always really chipper in the morning, so definitely add Jason.
It's all words. I'm really not that chipper. It's just all words. It's just smoke and mirrors. And my name is Jason Snyder, spelled Snyder, in case you guys didn't know. So you guys can hit me up there. As far as the events are concerned, we got non-con is coming September 24th, 25th, and 26th. So the actual non-con event is going to be Saturday, 25th and 26th. But if you come in and set up on Friday, you come in, we got a nighttime investigation going on Friday night along with the bonfire. We got RVs going to be there. People are going to be camping on the property. It's going to be an all-nighter. So the non-con starts bright and early on Saturday morning. We close up non-con. We take an hour and a half break. We go right into a Saturday night investigation. Open right back up the next morning for Sunday for non-con. And usually by about 3 or 4, everybody's gone. So it runs pretty good. It's a long weekend. You get like maybe 5 hours sleep the entire weekend. So we got that going on, and we got the murder mystery dinner, which is actually still a couple of tickets left for that. That's going to be May 15th, Saturday, May 15th at Post Town. It's $85. That includes a 2.5 to 3 hour murder mystery dinner. It's a full free dinner with beverages and whatnot. You'll get a lot of freebies. You'll have a chance to win a lot of freebies. So you may not actually get any of them. Somebody may get 3 or 4 boxes. So there's mystery boxes everywhere. Some of them are clues. Some of them are treasures. So you got a 2.5 to 3 hour murder mystery dinner, and then we break down for an hour and we go right into a paranormal investigation of the school until 3 a.m. And if you want to stay, that $85 covers that. You can crash on the floor with all of us. And then the Anna House in Indianapolis. That murder mystery dinner is set for June 12th. Sorry. June 12th for that one. There's still plenty of tickets available for that. The menu for the night is going to be spaghetti from scratch. It's going to be a fabulous Italian dinner, garlic bread, salad, all kinds of beverages. Again, freebies, murder mystery, and then we're going to investigate the Hannah House until 2 a.m. And it's going to be a great time. And if there is going to be a paranormal meet and greet, okay, you guys can probably start to look and see details for that rolling out in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
That's great. I'm glad you were able to share that kind of information with us.
I don't know that I was allowed to do that, but I just thought I'd give it to you anyways. I'll take the ass chewing for it later. I'm not worried about it.
Well, they can go ahead and talk to me too.
Yeah.
And anytime
I get that all the time on my end too.
And I can't say any dates right now, but the Hannah House Paranormal Meet and Greet, the Paranormal Day Celebration, it always happens in the 2nd or the 3rd week of August. So just think about that. Okay.
I was going to say, anytime that you guys have events or anything like that, and you want Shadow Hunters to share it, we'll share it on our page or YouTube page,
Hey,
Twitter.
that goes both ways. I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
That goes both ways. And I don't look for me to come to your page looking for things to promote, but if you tag me, I will share the crap out of it.
For sure.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
having us
much.
on, guys.
Hey, TJ, Jason, both you guys are awesome. Thank you very much for being on.
We
And
know.
I'll be seeing you the next time you guys get on with your show.
Awesome, guys.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you for the invite. You guys have been great tonight.
Okay.
Thanks for
I-
everybody who
Thank you.
stopped in. We appreciate every single one of you guys.
Okay.
You too, Jason.
Tell
All right.
TJ to get well, will you please?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got to rest. He's another guy that runs on fumes, just like
Yeah.
me. So
Okay,
Yeah.
Jason.
Sounds
we
great,
can-
guys.
Maybe we can get together and have you and the other Jason on one night.
Oh, that would be interesting. I'd be down for that. You have to nail me down for that, but I'd
Okay.
definitely be interested in it.
Okay, think it over, and we'll talk.
All right, sounds great. You
Okay.
guys have a good night.
Thanks again for everything, Jason.
Absolutely. See you now.
Okay, bye-bye. What do you think?